Yo, how you doing?
Good morning, good morning.
Oh, it's afternoon for me. Mate, how's my audio?
You sound very crisp, and actually you look very good as well. Do you get studio lighting as well on top of your upgraded microphone?
No, I just downloaded the Mac app and now I can record in 4K but I still look grim, but now I can record in 4K.
No way. Yeah, I see that we've become a video podcast now. You've been putting up some clips in some places, which is exciting.
Yeah, we probably need to centralize it. I just repurposed an old YouTube channel I had
Oh, cool.
from some like Chris Froome clips from like 6 years ago that were on there, but it
Nice,
already
nice,
had a
nice.
couple of subscribers. So I was like, oh, we'll just use this one and then we can have like a fake subscriber count to start with.
Let's reuse that audience, baby.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
exciting.
I'm sure there's a massive crossover between like tech bros and cyclists. The videos that were on there were like turbo trainer bike videos. So you like sit on the turbo trainer and you could like watch someone ride the Tour de France. Yeah.
No way. Oh man, I did not realize you did that actually brings me to something else I was going to ask you. But before I say that, I think we should have a Twitter account for sure. That would be cool.
Yeah, it'd be
Then
nice to tag the
we can
pod.
tag it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then you can put it in your bio, mate. You can fill your bio
Exactly.
with even more stuff. I
The
have so
bio
much
is an
stuff.
important place. Do you remember there was this project years and years ago? I think Twitter shut it down. Maybe Elon shut it down. It was like it would track like changes in people's Twitter bios, and it would send you like a weekly digest of every change that's happened to like the Twitter bio of someone you followed. It was fascinating because Twitter bios, they're like really our like identity in a way, right? So if someone changes where they live or where they work or like how they talk about what they do, it's like kind of meaningful. It was great.
That's quite a lot. Like you are really stalking at that point.
It
That's like, yeah, I don't
was
know.
amazing. It's all in
I don't know
public,
if I
man.
like that. Yeah, I guess like there's some really fun stuff like that. The one that I really enjoyed was tracking Elon's private jets. Did you see that one? There was this
Yeah,
guy,
yeah, yeah.
computer science student, just like pulled all the data from Elon's jets every like 20 minutes and then just tracked them on a map of the world. And I thought that was so funny. He really
Dude,
didn't
that was
like
very
that.
good. I actually remember I was building something similar last summer. It was like a little Garmin app so that you could track when you're cycling in Richmond Park, like which plane is the one you're looking at, like where is it coming from, what's the airline, what's the type. I should revive that.
Dude, you should do that. I feel like a lot of people would use that. And also, okay, because
Mm.
okay, so I met someone previously, friend of actually ex-girlfriend of mine, at a party, and he could tell you whatever plane was going overhead. He literally could tell you where it was going
Just from the
from like
wait,
looking at it, like the yeah. He knew like
no,
all
come
the flight
on.
maps because he lived near Heathrow, so he literally could tell
Uh-huh.
you where it was going, and it was the roguest skill, but it was so impressive. And okay, and then I was in a car with someone quite
That's
recently.
almost hard to believe because
No, he did
there's like
it.
a
He did
flight
it.
every 90 seconds.
Dude, he did it. Because we're in Chiswick, and the like
Right.
planes come over
Hmm.
quite a lot, and he could tell you wherever it was going, where it come from, like how many people were on it, like as in like the capacity side, like all about the actual plane. Like he could recognize the difference between like the different Airbuses and Boeings and stuff. It was actually just wild, and I was there like drinking Aperol, being like, "Is he tripping? Am I tripping? What's going on? Like, who is the one that's out of the ordinary here?" I feel like I'm kind of out of the ordinary for not being able to do this now. So I'm really glad
That's
you brought me
great.
down back to earth. No, I was in a car
One
with
day.
someone recently, and he was saying that he would really like an app that, as you're going past like things, you could just take a picture of them, and it would tell you what it was. And I did this recently with Perplexity and this like 5G antenna that they keep on popping up around West Yorkshire where my mum lives. I just took a picture of one of them and was like, what is this? Because they look kind of futuristic. They're these like white spires. And it was like, oh, it's probably a 5G antenna. And I was like, I've never seen one of these before. I feel like there's a lot of stuff where you go past and you're like, what is this? And
Yeah,
you
I remember
kind of
seeing
want
one of
like
those pop up in
enhanced,
Fulham.
yeah, like you kind of want like enhanced Google search, but by image. And I know like Android fanboys have had this for ages. They can literally just take a picture and it Googles the picture, like reverse image searches the picture. But I kind of want something a bit smarter than that, like some like LLM to like extract some data about it and then search it for me, like more of a,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't know, legit thing.
Check like the Open Street Map or like the Ordnance Survey data or whatever.
You can do it with Perplexity. Like I have Perplexity
Okay.
Search Pro, and you can just take a picture of stuff and it works out what it is. Like it works out where you are. It's like kind of scary and good.
Interesting. Okay, yeah. I actually let's talk about Perplexity for a second because I also I think purchased it. I'm not sure I'm paying for it still, but at some point I was trying it out because it feels like the CEO is like such a great storyteller and is able to hype it up like so well. And they launched like a browser now or something, right? I haven't tried that out yet, but like otherwise it seems like basically Perplexity seems like it's like a kind of a well-known thing in the tech world, but it's like never like the top of the App Store charts, or it hasn't reached like worldwide like mass adoption or whatever. But what do you find it most useful for? Because I was chatting to a friend here, actually a friend from secondary school who moved to SF, which is very exciting for both of us. He says it's like really great at like finding sources, like good sources for the information it gives you. So he uses it at work a lot for like research that really he needs to back up.
It's cool. Yeah, I guess there's a task that sits somewhere in between like deep research and Google. And I use it for that task. So it's like not, I want to know a lot about a topic. And it's not
That's so
like,
smart.
Like I need to find something that I know what it is. It's like somewhere in the middle. But to caveat this, I pretty much only use Perplexity because I think I got a year for free and I have no idea when that's ending. And I probably need to check. The browser though, we should not do a plug. We should do an ask the audience. If anyone has any Comet, I think it's Perplexity Comet. If anyone has any browser invites, please DM me. I would love a browser invite. I'd love to try a new browser.
Of course, it's like invite only. Someone was saying that, you know, how we've had this massive wave of like VS Code forks, and that's worked like really well for a lot of the people doing the forking. And someone was saying we'll have the same now for just Chromium forks. We'll have just like tons and tons of like people, because the browser, just like the IDE, makes a lot of sense as kind of like an established entry point that you can then build like a very rich AI experience around.
Yeah, I see that. I think the code base of Chromium is probably more hectic than the code base of VS Code. Maybe.
Possible, yeah.
So I don't know. I reckon it's more work to put your own spin on the Chromium browser than it is to release a VS Code fork with a plugin pre-installed.
Interesting. Yep. I can buy that. What were you about to say?
But yeah, I was going to say that the browser company, you know, they pivoted from their first browser to their second browser. Which I just find hysterical. I never got onto the Arc train. I know people who loved it, but I never got onto it because
actually. Yeah.
Yeah, my laptop just wasn't good enough, I don't think, my last one. And so it would just get crazy hot with a bunch of tabs open. And yeah, I don't know. I never really got into it. And I have a vertical monitor at the time, which I'd optimized because it was vertical. And so I kind of wanted tabs at the top rather than tabs on the side, because tabs on the side was really annoying because then I had no screen.
Then you had like ton. Yeah, gotcha. That's cool. I didn't know you had a vertical monitor. That's some elite shit. I tried that at some point, but it didn't last super long.
I had it at uni because I was coding like one file Python scripts basically. And so the vertical monitor was pretty useful. Like if you have one like 1,000 like line file and that's like all you're working on and you haven't worked out that you could split your functions up, then the vertical thing suddenly becomes quite useful.
That's amazing. Yeah, I remember that it took, to be honest, like having multiple files that you're dealing with, it's annoying, you know. Like I can see why past us was like, yeah, no, single file is how what a good code base should look like.
Quite like it, like the logical separation. Big fan, and then each file is like independently tested. I like having,
but then you have to import them into each other, and that gets messy. No, obviously, I'm also
but if your functions,
favor of multiple files.
If your functions stay really small, like I don't want to do the whole like, can we say his name? Can we say Uncle Bob's name? I don't want to do the whole thing like that because like the whole clean code thing where you should have like 3-line functions. But if you do that, you can't do that many imports because you don't have enough real estate. No, but you had that at GitHub, right? 3-line functions.
The GitHub code base was like that. Yeah. Well, 1-line functions, 2-line functions, 3 lines was a bit sus actually.
Was it?
I mean, there were a couple of 10-line functions as well.
You got called out for that.
It has a lot of. It was sometimes like if you wanted to like see, like follow like a call chain like all the way through. Sometimes you would have to like jump through like 8 1- or 2-line functions to get to like the place where you actually want to be across 8 different files in completely different parts of the code base. Which
that is a big grim.
And the nice thing was that they were all named really well. So like that makes it a bit easier to understand. But yeah, it's a lot of indirection, and especially when you're jumping across like completely different files. that are in
Yeah.
completely different places. It's a bit mad.
That's one thing I really like about having integrated test runners into the like ecosystem of the language. So it's one thing that Zig does really well is it's pretty standard to have a file in Zig that is a function and then a test function underneath, a test testing the above function underneath. So you like co-locate your tests in the same file.
Cool.
And that's like pretty standard.
Interesting.
And they can do that because it's compiled, right? So you just don't include the tests in the final bundle, not in the bundle, in the final code, source code.
And the artifact.
Yeah. So they can do that. But I've been starting to do that a little bit with Bun, because you can do that with Bun, which is kind of jokes because Bun is written on Zig, and I feel like it takes a lot of the language ideas from Zig that you can.
That makes sense.
Like even though it's JavaScript, it like you can do like bun test and then just test an ordinary file, and if that file has got tests in it, they'll run. And I think that's cool
That's so
because you can
interesting.
like co-locate, and then LLMs love the co-location as well.
Yeah, I bet. Is it like you have like one kind of like very important, useful for readability kind of thing test co-located, and you have like more tests like separately? Because often you can have like
In Zig, you would have them in the same file. In Zig, it would like all be in the same file.
But you can have like 100 tests for like one function, right? And like they're all, most of them are like random edge cases that are kind of irrelevant to the day-to-day
Yeah.
work of someone who'd be looking at the.
Yeah, this is true. I feel like if you're unit testing though, and you are keeping stuff very functional and small, your tests don't have to be that large, right? Like
I see.
they're like a
Interesting.
couple of inputs tested against a couple of outputs maximum. It should be like a 1-to-1 max really, and then they don't end up being that big. I don't know. That design, I think co-location, maybe not of tests, but definitely of like similar functions. Similar functions should be in similar areas of the code base. So I have this really annoying thing where if you put like services separate to controllers, I hate you. I just put them
Right.
all in the same place.
So you hate all Rails apps?
Yeah, I was gonna say this. This is a Rails thing, isn't it? They love that type of thing. Speaking of Rails, did you hear DHH on Lex Friedman? I wasn't gonna watch the whole thing because it's like 6 hours, but I listened to the
I have
first
not been
little
able
bit.
to listen to Lex Friedman anymore. So there was, I think, some critique from some famous blogger that was like, I have read the transcript of a 6-hour Lex Friedman podcast, and I learned nothing new. He just asks like extremely shallow softball questions. And if you were
They are the worst questions. They're the worst questions. It's like, so how do you feel about this programming language?
yeah,
I love Ruby. Ruby's great. It's the best thing ever. It's like great, obviously. Nice.
So I feel like I've been I don't know, I've been turned off Lex Friedman by the. I think there are sometimes interesting to listen to, and he gets amazing guests on, obviously. But no, long story short, I haven't listened to this one.
Yeah, I think he is incredibly boring and dull. No offense to him. He's made an extremely successful podcast. Not entirely sure how. I normally skip his questions and just listen to the responses because DHH is a great speaker, right? He is.
Yeah.
He's a stunning speaker, and it's obvious like how he's been so successful and influential in software engineering. Like Rails is cool, right?
Yeah, and it's
done
amazing,
a
and
huge thing.
100%, yeah. And
Stack
in
One's a
just
Rails
so many
shop.
ways.
You know, we're a Rails shop.
I did not know that. No, I thought you were a TypeScript shop.
We started as a Rails shop. We've been slowly stripping out. We've been slowly stripping out all the Ruby. But I saw a really funny thread on Twitter, which was like, "Oh, why do TypeScript devs complain that auth is so hard? Just use Rails. Just use device." Like, device is pretty old and antiquated and needs a lot of work. And so it's funny. It does just work, but it also just works with like a million security vulnerabilities. So I don't think.
Yeah.
That's
It's
a
really
good enough
interesting.
reason.
I feel like it's very easy to forget in like this amazing world of like software that like there's a lot of different ways to like, do things and a lot of different needs that different people have. And like if one thing works really well for you, that doesn't mean it's going to work amazingly well for everything else. And also I think it's true actually for like everyone getting kind of different mileage out of like the AI tools. Like software engineering as a field, there's actually a lot of different tasks that we do like day to day. And I think it can feel like I used to kind of have this just intuitive belief that like, oh yeah, you could pick up programming in like a week or like a month or I don't know, certainly 2 months, right? Because it's like in your head, it all feels quite straightforward. But then you realize, as you maybe see someone who's like super new, you realize like, oh wow, like yeah, I've encountered this issue that they've seen like for the first time like a million times before. And like there's actually so much varied work between like reading through a big code base to like writing tests to like knowing what like random HTTP headers mean to like, I don't know, some DNS thing. Like it is just like so much actually in this field, and it's easy to forget both how much, I guess, breadth there is, but also like how varied the day-to-day task can be. And I think especially that last point is.
I have such a good example of this. I was setting up a new React code base, and I was just like, I'll just use the like an SPA. I'll just use the React Vite template. Like you're probably meant to. This feels like the most stable thing in React Vite, right? Let's go. Pasted the command in, like npm I, all good. pm dev, immediate crash. Crypto is not a function, something. And I was just like, oh my God. And I was like, oh, maybe it's my version of Node. So I installed the latest version of Node. I was like, no, the template is just broken. It is literally just broken. And it wasn't me.
Right.
So and obviously I worked out why it was broken pretty quickly. Oh, I didn't work out why, but I just downgraded Vite to version 6 or something rather than version 7. I just did a full major version downgrade and it fixed it. And I was like, sick. I'm probably missing loads of features now, but it works for me. But imagine you were like brand new to front-end dev and you just install the template, run the template, and the template doesn't even run?
Brutal.
Seriously?
Absolutely brutal. I mean, man, I was trying to figure out I don't know, how to do some React thing inside the Cloudflare pages, Cloudflare workers, in January when we had this little hackathon at my house. And I was just like, oh, let me try Next. Oh, no, you don't want to be using Next. You want to be using, I don't know. There was just like a bunch of people who really knew, including you, who really knew like what to use with whatever else. Like, it took like 2 hours and I was just working my way through like different iterations of framework combinations. Like, oh no, you want to be using Astro, whatever that is for this use case. Oh no, you want to be using like.
Astro is sick, actually.
Go on, lay it on me. What's the hottest?
I just touched my mic. Astro is sick. I migrated my blog from Next.js on SST to Astro on Cloudflare, and I haven't got any performance numbers at all, but it feels snappier. I don't get an email every month now from AWS saying they're charging me like 50p. And I don't know, it just feels really good. Like it got rid of so much boilerplate because Astro handles all of like the markdown to static site generation for you. And you can do server rendering of like some interactive stuff if you want to. So it's really cool. Like I was a big fan. It's kind of weird that it's not TSX files, it's like Astro files. But to me, it looks like React. I don't know if it is React. I don't know what's different. I mean, Claude Code helped me out a lot, and then I had to read the docs to do the final setup. But it was super nice. It was a very nice experience. Like all my Tailwind, everything just worked out the box. Yeah.
That's really interesting. Dude, I had an idea. We're talking for a while about having like a free ideas segment on this show because there is so much to build at the moment. And most of it we're not going to have the time for or whatever, or we have our own priorities. But one thing I was thinking about is it would be cool if there was kind of like a lovable, but for hackers or like for people like us. So basically the idea is like something like Lovable or like Claude Artifacts, a bit like too abstracted away from us, right? Like really, we want to have like a bit more control, and also probably we want to deploy it like on our own site or on our own like domain, and probably also have a bit of a say over like the tech choices so that we can like make our own tweaks like without using AI. So how cool would it be like if there was some service, I don't know, you could just deploy on your own like subdomain or something, and then you register all of your API keys, like all of your favorite stack, and then you have the same kind of prompt interface. It's just like, hey, dear like Lovable, dear Claude Artifacts, like make me this little app, but it deploys like on your own domain using all your favorite like tech choices. It has already like, I don't know, OAuth providers configured. It has like all of the right like API keys configured, or like third-party APIs you want to access for like your personal Google Drive or something like that. And then yeah, obviously you own all the like it ejects or it doesn't even need to eject. It's just like a code base. It's just backed by like a GitHub repo where everything lives. What do you think?
I mean, that sounds like a great idea.
Back to the show.
We bleeped that bit out.
Whoa. Yeah, you should actually bleep it all out. It'll make it even more.
Should I just bleep Bleep.
Just bleep.
Yeah, no, I
That's
told Wallace
wild.
something very secret. But that is a great
No, but
idea. Someone should build that.
Someone should build it because I think even between the two of us, the tech choices would be quite different. I'll give you an example. I was quite interested in like what are the hardest problems in like Swebench verified that like no one has been able to solve. And I tried it in both Claude Artifact and in Lovable. And Lovable did a much better job actually. And it's the perfect kind of micro project, right? Like little micro site. It's just like I want like an online little explorer thing that like loads in the data from GitHub, like because all the traces, all the like problems that are solved are kind of provided by the different like I don't know, like by all the different people who attempt the benchmark. Like it's all in a GitHub repo, and I just wanted like have a little browser, like filter, search, sort, whatever. Lovable did a better job than Claude Artifacts. Claude Artifacts just like it didn't work at all. But then even in Lovable, it was just super janky and like barely really worked. And like I don't know, like I'm just not ever going to look at that again, I think. Whereas if I can like decide my own tech that I wanted to use and like give it my own GitHub API key or whatever, I don't know, like this kind of stuff, then it just becomes a lot more reliable. Partially, actually, this was inspired because there was a little Hacker News post the other day that was like, hey, should we just split Hacker News into like people who want to talk about AI and LLMs and agents and people who don't? And then he just like whipped up a little thing that was like, here is the Hacker News front page with like a bunch of keywords like AI, LLM, agent filtered out. Here you go. And it was like on his own like domain. So it was just like hosted on his own page. And it was just the most beautiful, simple thing. And I was like, that is actually great. Like that is the right form factor for these things. Yeah, he just used AI to build it. Yeah.
So he was in the pro camp, I'm guessing.
It's he was. It's a bit ironic, I guess. Yeah.
I feel like this is I mean, it's a cool use case. But two, isn't that like product feedback for the platform? I know Hacker News don't care, right? But for Sweetbench, I feel like something like Hugging Face should have a search over Sweetbench and like a semantic search over Sweetbench. Isn't that literally what they're designed for? Like searching over data sets?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I guess this is like, maybe they have data sets, but they don't have like a fine-grained understanding of like evals or like runs or,
Yeah, I guess.
Anyway.
But you want to talk, there's loads more you want to talk about. You want to talk about how AI is slowing down developers. I saw this. You sent me this.
Okay, I really want to talk about this one. So this is fascinating. So basically there was this study by METR. They did quite a big splash on Twitter saying, all right, I'll just read the tweet. We ran a randomized control trial to see how much AI coding tools speed up experienced open source developers. The results surprised us. Developers thought they were 20% faster with AI tools, but they were actually 19% slower when they had access to AI than when they didn't. So that's obviously like quite surprising. Like, we're all like, "Ooh, AI speeds things up. Why would it actually like slow things down?" There's like a lot to the study. Like they seem like quite good people, like kind of a well-designed study, et cetera, et cetera. But I think I've always had that perspective that I just mentioned earlier, which is like, there are actually like, a huge variety to like coding tasks. I think for some AI can like help a lot. For others, like AI is probably less helpful. But then 2 days ago, there was actually someone else who kind of quote tweeted the study and looked into it a little bit. And none other than Emmett Shear, the co-founder of Twitch.
Is he the co-founder of Twitch? He was on the board of, didn't he become the chairman of OpenAI or something for about 20 minutes?
I was going to say, I feel like he was the CEO of OpenAI or something for like 20 minutes back when the board events, the OpenAI board events went down. But yeah, so he looked into this a little bit. And like, I guess, long story short, what he's kind of found is that the developers who participated in the study, all of them had like experience with LLMs, but only one of them actually had experience using like a proper coding agent like Cursor or Claude Code. And his point is like prompting LLMs in ChatGPT, where it's like, you ask a question, you get something back, is like a very, very different thing to using like a real like coding agent where you like write up a task and then the thing 100%. Goes out and does it. And then there's a bit of back and forth with the authors of the paper. But I think it's a reasonable point. But the thing that I would be most interested in discussing with you, which we've kind of talked about a little bit previously, is like, how do you actually get proficient at using an agentic tool? Because it feels like the skill ceiling is quite high. And Emmett himself in this tweet thread, he even talks about how he had some tweet saying like, Oh yeah. I am very modestly proficient, and it took me weeks. So like he's saying it like, and I think Torsten from AMP Sourcegraph has been saying this for a while as well, that like it's a real skill to use these agents like well, and it's something that needs to be like practiced, and you get better over
I mean,
time. And obviously none of us have any
Jared,
patience anymore.
yeah, Jared Sumner from Burn, Michelle Hashimoto of Terraform and HashiCorp fame, they all are like, LLMs are awesome, but it took me months. Like I think Michelle Hashimoto, when he was talking about Ghosty, he's talked a lot about how he's used LLMs, huge amounts, but they started off not very helpful. I think I really hated the workflow of generate something in ChatGPT and then try and incorporate it into your project and then run it and realize it doesn't work. That was awful. I never want to go back to that sort of time. And yeah, I really hope this wasn't what the study was mentioning. I mean, I didn't read into it in that much depth. The other side of it
No,
that I could
actually,
see.
no, I think it was kind of I think the problem was more that like they were using stuff like Cursor and they just couldn't get that much value out of it, basically.
Okay, so they hadn't like worked out how to prompt it. They hadn't worked out like when to
Right.
call it quits, because like there's the whole doom loop
Yeah,
situation that you have to
I-
understand, and you have to go
right.
back and then change your inputs, or exactly what you were talking about in the last episode.
Right. And exactly. And then I think the stuff that you described is exactly the skills that you need, right? Like you need to know which task to use it for, which task not to use it for. You need to know like how to like write the prompt well. This is why like AMP has like, this like enter doesn't send a message. It just goes to the next line
I
to
actually
encourage
love
you
that
to like
UX. I love that.
write
I
like a bigger
love that.
prompt.
I love it. They did so well there. It makes so much sense. Because the amount of times I'm like, cursor, just do this, and then I get half. I actually normally press enter, and then I'm like, no. So I actually just write back in the text box, continually write back into it. Press enter, double enter, because then that restores the checkpoint and then sends it again. So I reckon I spend double cursor what I need to do, because I press enter way more than necessary.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not good. But I think there's also I'd be really interested to see how experienced the developers were in general. I think they had 5 years, right? The developers that was in the study. I think I saw the headline.
Yeah,
because I can't wait for the study that comes out that's like the difference between people sort of my age or a couple of years younger who had a few years experience before LLMs and then a few years afterwards, and whether they have like the ones that have embraced it versus the ones that haven't. Then I would like to see like people who are very young now who have just had LLMs, and I would like to see people who are older
that's
who've had like 15 years or 20 years experience without LLMs, and then the ones who've adopted it and the ones that haven't. Because I think you need all of those categories before you start making a informed decision, because I think for one of them will be properly like out of distribution. Like I could imagine the my age who adopted LLMs at the beginning, depending on how good they were when they adopted LLMs, you could be like very out of distribution. Like you could have
like
not
way better, you mean?
yeah. So like if they had an intrinsic knowledge of like the field that they were working in before they adopted LLMs, I think they'd have got way better. But if they didn't, my like hunch is that they're going to have really struggled, maybe even more so than I don't know what's after Gen Z, like Gen Alpha, maybe even more than those people having had LLMs pretty much all the way through they've been coding, right?
Yeah.
Because they've like learned to harness it from the beginning, and they've like learned with the model, whereas there are like people later on, maybe they didn't learn with the model, and then they learned about a bunch of bad habits or like a bunch of ways that their company did something in that moment, and now they're like fighting with a language model because they don't know the reason why they did what they did previously.
Yep.
And they're like holding on to the
Man, that's so
only
interesting.
ground truth that they have, which maybe is not like a good ground truth.
Right, yeah. And the thing that we can all do is try and get better at the skill of prompting the agent, right? Which is like, so I'll give you one example actually. I have we're doing this big refactor for Colo because I found like quite a big performance improvement, at least in theory, which is nice because Colo can like slow down your code a bunch when it's active, and it involves like a bunch of like there's like a Rust extension to Colo, like so it gets like it can get a bit complicated. It's like kind of weird code. You kind of need to know it somewhat well. It's also very well tested. I had this experience with Claude Code a couple times like last week where I was like, hey, just like here's the thing that's wrong. Like, go and like adjust it, and then run the tests to like verify. But it would start running the full tests, but then it would gradually run like fewer tests until it ran just the tests that were passing, and then it would stop and be like, "Hey, all the tests pass. We've done a good job here," and then it would exit. And this just like kept happening, and I'm just like, I don't know how to get it to not do that. Which so clearly, like, to be honest, like I don't like. I think as far as people go in terms of the skill of prompting agents, I don't think I'm like very good. Like I wish I had like more naivety or whatever, and I wouldn't like. I think I've often gone back to just okay, let me just write this code like myself, and like not, which I think that's totally legit, and the AI can still help a lot in like lots of other ways. But like how we were talking about like editing inputs versus editing outputs. Like I'm definitely not at the level where I can just like edit the prompt I give to the LLM and have that then do the right thing. I will for sure edit like the outputs of the LLM and like make it so that it's how I like it.
It's a scale though, right? Like if you can see where something has gone wrong, it's kind of easy, like directionally wrong, it's kind of easier to edit the input. Whether it's like, if it's something minorly stylistic that you can just curse a tab all the way through, then it's easier to edit the output. So I reckon I make that. It's probably what I wanted to say last time, actually, is that phrase. I think I probably make that trade-off in my head every time. It's one of the fun things about working with LLMs is I'm less thinking about the code. I'm more thinking about how I want to make the code do what I want it to like do. I'm less thinking about the syntax, which I really enjoy. I think coding with models is super fun.
But so do you still look at the code at the end, and do you still care
Yeah,
that
100%.
it conforms to... Okay.
Yeah. And like I have some really strict linting rules. I think really strict linting rules are good. Especially like in TypeScript code bases where you can like, and there is the structure and there is the tooling now. The tooling's really easy to set up. Like there should be no excuse for not having good linting rules. The thing I hate most, right, is when you find a company and they're doing really cool stuff and you're like, maybe it's open source and they have a template and you download the template. It's kind of what I was saying earlier. And you open the template, and my default linting rules in VS Code, in Biome, in my extension, are like red everywhere. And you're like, holy shit, man, come on. And it's like real simple stuff. Like there's just like nothing is typed properly. Everything is any. Or like there's a bunch of like TS ignore errors. And you're just like, dude, this is your public facing template. At least make this useful. At least make this good with LLMs, like a good starting point. So yeah. That's my little gripe.
Interesting, yeah. Okay, so just to spend like another couple minutes of this, like if we had to come up with some rule or like some ideas, some best practices for the skill of like prompting an agent to do the right thing, like what would be in that list of like best practices?
I don't know if I have a huge amount of best practices for prompting. I have some good stuff with just like working in a code base. And I've been thinking a lot about generating code. Like I guess my whole job at Stack One was I was hired to generate code. My most recent project, the whole project is built from the ground up to be able to be generatable. And I think I've talked about this previously, but everything is typed like super, super well. Everything is co-located. Like the good examples are co-located next to each other. The bits that you don't want to change are far away from each other. So when something changes, for instance, a lot of the specs and the structures of the code base are created in types, and I have a bunch of type only packages that live in another part of the code base or even in another code base, so the model can't change them. And then you just have really strict linting rules. And if it has to conform, then you suddenly have like almost verifiable code.
That's good, yeah. And so all of this means, right, that in the agentic loop, like the agent can see when the linting rules are like broken and can like fix them. And that's part of its like feedback cycle.
Just really boring stuff like that, yeah. And just try not to do too many things that aren't like normally accepted in the world of open source, right? Like if you have crazy names for stuff that don't actually mean those things in English and you go down a wild rabbit hole, like that's chill, but the model's gonna then struggle. And you're gonna have to, you can do that. You just have to write some good rules files or at least some structure. I've seen some I think about which code base it was, but I saw a mad code base that had like Claude.md files at every level. I was just like, it's like actually it's nuts. But
Nuts
if,
good. Nuts
yeah,
good,
I
right?
mean, if it works for them and like, because I feel like some parts of a code base you're going to want to generate more than others. And those parts, if it's a consistent thing you want to generate, then why not have a Claude.md file or like a README at least that tells you how to build that thing? Like previously you might have had it in docs, but now you just co-locate it with the code.
That's good. Yeah. One thing that also seems very helpful, and I think that should be in a lot of like these like longer running prompts, is like some way for an agent to actually verify their work, right? So like some tests that they can run, or maybe even just running the code that they've written is like a good starting point for seeing if like it matches their expectations. Is great until Claude Code decides it's just going to start running a very small subset of my tests.
That's really funny.
That's
really funny. I've had Claude run, like Claude seems to tend to want to run like linting and build. I don't think I even ask it to run that, and every time it finishes, it runs build, or at least Open Code does. Like every time it finishes, it runs build. How beautiful is Open Code? It's so pretty.
Oh yeah?
The system theme, where it matches to your like terminal colors, it's so good because I have it in Ghosty, and Ghosty is beautiful out the box. And so now Open Code just has the same colors as Ghosty, like by default. It looks so good, dude.
That's cool. I need to give it another shot. I tried using it once just inside like the VS Code integrated terminal, and it was like super laggy.
Yeah,
and
no,
that's
like, tough.
Oh, damn.
I had this problem where, well, the first time I tried to use it, I downloaded the wrong Open Code because there is two.
No.
And that's actually kind of tough because I think so there's one that was acquired, the original one that everyone was working on. That one was acquired by Chime. And then there's a fork, which is now the one I'm talking about, that's maintained by the people from SST. And I accidentally downloaded the original one. And when you run the original one, there's no like automatic setup of keys or anything. It just says like agent not installed. And you're like, great. So I think you have to write like a config file manually and stuff, but I couldn't find the docs for it. And I just immediately churned. Like immediately I was like, I can't be bothered with this. And then about 3 weeks later,
thing will resolve. Oh, sorry, no, go on, keep going.
Just about 3 weeks later, I just tried the one by SST and wrote Open Code, and it went through this whole like picker of like which model do you want to use, sign in with the like Claude, sign in with the Max plan. And I was like, oh my god, I love this so much. It's so nice.
That's awesome. Yeah, I wonder how their naming dispute will resolve. What will actually happen?
I don't know, but I'm very bullish on this type of thing, actually. I was thinking about it more, and the more I think about it, the more I think that Vercel is going to do one as well.
I see.
Because it makes sense. Like they'll run it through their AI gateway. Like they'll distribute traffic over a bunch of keys eventually. They'll do token costs plus slightly extra eventually. It will all be charged to your Vercel account. Like I feel like they're going to want to own this, and everyone is going to try and own this because it's so flexible. I got Claude Code running in a Cloudflare container for some workflows that we want to do, and I just have an API, right, or like an RPC function that I can just ping and send it a prompt, and it pulls a repo and adds a thing to the repo, and it's like that's it's great. So clean, and it's all done like on just in a container. Like you could run a VPS to do it. You could do whatever you want to do it. It's just so flexible. Like you can run that thing wherever you have Linux installed.
Yeah,
I agree. I'm just like, wow.
One thing that I wish that I'm worried Claude Code will never have, and that is a really cool idea from, again, I think AMP, which, I mentioned it like a million times. I think I'm going to take it for a fresh spin sometime this week, is you get another model, like you get O3 to review the output.
Is this the Oracle? The Oracle. You're chatting about the Oracle. Dude, exactly, this is so good. So I have a question for AMP.
I think that would have caught the issue that I had with Claude. Like if it just looks at like the diff, the like first message and the last message, then it would be like, oh, dude, you're not running the full tests. Or if Claude is stuck for some reason in some local minima, then it can perhaps like tell like I think O3 to me still feels like smarter than like Opus 4. Then it can maybe like unblock it and like go to the next level.
Dude, AMP is like so OP. I feel like they are living in the future. I tried it. It's my favorite coding editor, coding extension, 100%. I have a few minor gripes. One of them is it's just way too fucking slow. Like the actual UI of it
Interesting.
is way too slow, and the sub-agent
Really?
experience doesn't feel as good as it could do. I feel like it could feel so much better. I feel like if you had multiple concurrent agents, which I haven't been able to produce, I feel like that could feel
Oh,
better.
okay. That's really good to know. So you haven't been able to do that. I've been trying to get Claude Code to do that, and
I
it
haven't been
just
able to do
doesn't.
it. Yeah, I haven't been able to do it.
Yeah.
It was really annoying. I was like, this surely should be quite straightforward, but I haven't been able to do that. And then other things I haven't been able to do. Okay, so it runs off Claude most of the time. Enable, like, let me sign up with Anthropic with the max plan. I just don't have the money to be paying for AMP all the time like this. Like at least let me
Yes.
proxy
Yes.
my Claude requests. Like I know you want to own it, but dude, it's just too expensive. And
Yeah.
then the other thing, I don't mind.
That's a
I don't
very
mind
fair point.
paying through O3 through you guys through O3. I don't mind paying extra. Like I'm happy to pay extra, but the majority of my requests are going straight to Anthropic. So just let me sign in with the max plan.
Yep.
I
Yep.
really don't even mind if you take a tiny percentage for each token. Just I managed to spend something like $80 or something in one morning, and like I feel like that is probably too much for what I produced. Like it was cool, right? And everyone's gonna say like compared to your salary, like it's like nothing. But
Yeah, it does make a
like
difference.
compared
And
to the
clearly,
fact
yeah.
yeah, it was a Saturday. So like compared to my salary, I shouldn't have been working. So it would have been nice if that didn't end up costing loads of money. So I don't know. I don't know. It was so cool though. What they're doing is really good. I love the branding. I love the developer marketing. Like they're all advocates
Yeah.
for their own product. Like everything they're doing just screams like this is going to work. And they're managing to do it. The team, yeah. I mean, it's bigger than the open code team. They're shipping more innovatively. Like open code, they're doing the stuff they're doing really well. But AMP, they're as simple as the return, right? It's just so good. It's so clean.
Yeah, the Z V1 of the LLM experience in Z had the same thing, and then
Okay.
the V2 kind of went back to enter sends the message.
Yeah, I
It's
don't like
definitely
enter
like
sends the message.
it's interesting, right? Because like clearly most products have enter sends the message, but like in if it really with the agent is about like writing a long thoughtful message, like it like yeah maybe it is like the better paradigm, but also it's interesting because obviously Torsten from SourceGraph, he loves writing well, so it's like the perfect kind of thing for him to be doing, so that's great. But it does also feel like surely this is not where things will end up, right? Like I think we're in a world now where very few people write like long form written content, long form, thoughtful written content. Like none of us have attention span for this kind of stuff anymore. And kudos to the people who do. They are for sure better people.
I don't think it has to be formatted. So if you are struggling to write a long thing, then use voice, use like Whisperflow, better dictation, use some sort of like transcription model. Like that makes sense to me that a long okay. So thinking of the recent
Yeah.
advances in coding agents, a big one was to-do lists, right? Where the model can tick off the to-do list. And my brother, we were chatting on the weekend. He was like, "Dude, have you seen Cursor can like create its own to-do list and then tick it off? It's so wild." And I was like, "Yeah, man, you're about like 2 weeks late. Like all the other coding agents have had this before." And he was just like, "Matt, you're too online. You're too online." But he just looked at me with this like expression of disappointment. But I'm taking that as a win. It was, I think, with those to-do lists, you incentivize like longer questions and bigger tasks, and that's where we want to go, right? We
Right.
want to
Yeah,
go
yeah,
to
yeah.
the fact like everyone's metric of success is how long can the agent loop continue creating useful stuff, and can it
Yeah.
be 20
Although this
minutes?
is
Can it be
also a
30 minutes?
wild
Can it be
metric.
an hour? Or how many
So this
tokens?
is
Maybe not the time, because also K2, you know, the
yeah.
new model, that new model that's like really fast on Grok. That is another one of my gripes. Like if my coding agent is too slow, then I don't want to be sat in front of it. Like I have better things to
You
do
know,
than watch AI churn. I would prefer to use a quicker model as long as it meets a quality threshold.
yeah, I agree. So this whole, I think we both listened to the same podcast with Adam Wolf, who like leads up Claude Code in some capacity, who was saying that like, and I think yeah, Anthropic I think also hinted at this when Claude 4 was released, both Sonnet and Opus, that like key metric that they care about internally is like how long can the agent do tasks by itself, and like Opus could do, I don't know, like several hours or like half a day or whatever. But when he said this, I was like, okay, interesting. It is a bit of a strange metric, right? Because ideally you want the work to be done quickly. You don't want it to like go on forever. And like I've waited for Claude Code to like a very similar edits across like a couple dozen files, and it's like one by one by one. Like that's not, you know. I guess it's great that it could keep going for that long without stopping. Although that seems like oh yeah, I don't know. It's just like a bit of an awkward metric because those edits could have been done way more quickly.
Yeah, we're falling into like a local maximum or whatever it is. Like it's just like something that's like
right.
A much small, everyone's taking a much smaller picture, and they're like, at the moment, what do I want? I want the model to be able to run for longer because I want to be able to do more stuff. But actually, what does the user want?
Yeah.
The user wants stuff to be done yesterday. So if it was quicker, it's closer to yesterday, I guess.
Right. I think it's like a clean story to tell to investors, right? It used to be that LLMs just responded to you straight away and then they were done. And now they can work for a day and like be productive. It's like, okay, yeah, they can work really, really slowly doing like insanely unnecessary tool calls. But like that's, yeah.
Maybe it's actually like a go-to-market plan. Maybe it's like we can charge per hour of your virtual employees' time. Maybe the anthropomorphizing of models. I mean, it probably is, right? Like X sells you virtual assistants or virtual employees. They don't sell you like virtual autocomplete.
Right.
They're not selling you that. They're trying to like make it feel more human because it feels more competent, more like personable, more. And if it's like this human can go away and work for 8 hours, we conjure up images of like lots of work being done in 8 hours of tireless, hard labor. But yeah, really slowly.
That's a really good point. Yeah, it makes it a bit. Yeah, I guess maybe I'm being a bit pedantic, but
yeah.
That could be a good story.
I watched the F1 movie last night.
Oh my God, yeah, you mentioned you were going to talk about this. Tell me more. It's like advertised super well everywhere. And then also somehow there's like a song from it that like made it into my like Discover Weekly and I loved it.
Oh, seriously? Wild. Yeah, the music's good. The music's very like intense. It feels, I think if I just listened to the music, I think I was watching Batman. It's not like, it doesn't feel like a racing car music. It's very American. It's like an American spin on F1. It's the old timer coming back. But the really cool things they did is they put all of the F1 drivers, F1 principals, like the real people, they put them into the film. And they also had the reporter from Drive to Survive as like the main reporter in the film. So
that's awesome.
It felt like you knew everyone. Like no one needed an introduction. Apart from the two main characters, obviously. But like, literally no one needed interaction. Like Toto Wolff is like in there. But it also means that some of the acting is quite rubbish because they're like not professional actors.
Interesting.
And so they have to do some lines where it's like, that's not how he would have said it. I've seen him on interviews. He looks stressed.
Right. Yeah.
That's not the same way. Anyway, but because they're like
wild.
acting as themselves, it is easier, right?
It is easier. Do you think it would be enjoyable for someone like me who's not ever watched Drive to Survive?
Yeah, I think so. Like, I'm not a big F1 fan at all. I watched a bit of Drive to Survive, like, initially, because I thought that they're cool stories. And then it got, like, really over-dramatized. And this film is, like, the culmination of that. Like, it's the culmination of the dramatization of F1 into this, like, crazy, like, action-packed, like, they're crashing every lap. They're doing it on purpose to bend the rules. And it's like... Yeah, I don't know how much of it actually happens, but it was a good film. And Brad Pitt looks amazing. He's like my dad's age, and he looks so good. He could easily be 40.
Shout out to your dad, who I'm sure also looks phenomenally.
I mean, my dad looks great, but Brad Pitt could be 40. It's like, or even younger, dude. He like looks so good. I mean, he's got a bit of wrinkly eyes, and it is quite unfortunate because a lot of the film, you're just seeing him in a helmet. And so you're literally just like looking at his wrinkly eyes, and it's like, that is like the least like young looking part of him, which I think is quite funny.
That's really funny. By the way, did you guys do anything for Bastille Day on Monday?
Shit, maybe that's why I was in bad books. No, I'm kidding. No, we didn't.
I was reminded of it because I ran into a friend actually randomly outside the gym, which is so cool. Like you definitely run into people a lot more here in SF, which is really nice. And then there was just a guy with a massive French flag that walked by, and we were like, "Wait, what's going on? Oh, okay, today is the day."
They take it very seriously, like very seriously. That's
Yeah,
cool.
it seemed well celebrated here.
Do you have a lot of Frenchies?
You hear it? There's one rework which seems like it's all French people. So I think there's a strong French population, but I don't know if it's like actually that out of
Yeah.
the ordinary.
Because in central London, like zone one, I can't get on a tube. I can't walk down a street without hearing French. I can't sit in a cafe without hearing French. It's like wild, which is great for me because like I'm constantly trying to eavesdrop and improve my French. But I do find it quite funny. And then when Jeanette's parents come over, they're always like, her mum just like scowls every time she hears French because she's like, I'm in England. Why am I listening to French? And she's French, you know. But it's just very funny. I hang around French people a lot though because my bosses are all French. A lot of my colleagues are French.
Yeah. I think a similar thing. Like just a bunch of friends are kind of French or French adjacent.
There's a lot
Yeah.
of like French engineers though who go into computer science. I mean, they produce a lot of engineering talent. It's held in super high regard over there.
But did you see the story that Apple might acquire Mistral, or that they are considering acquiring Mistral, or that someone was urging them to?
I saw a tweet like as a piss take. I didn't know if it was real, and I don't know if it might have been like a commentary tweet. I didn't pay much attention to it, but that's really funny. Mistral have been shipping recently.
Have they?
I follow one of their dev rails, and apparently their new coding model is really good, like on the curve of like cost to scores on some benchmarks or something. It's like really good. I don't know what that means anymore, and I haven't tried it yet, so caveat, but probably should try it, you know. Speaking of new
really
models,
enjoying.
go on.
Oh, I was just kind of saying the opposite. I mean, it feels like the summer so far has been a little bit slower in terms of AI news, and I'm really enjoying it. It's actually really nice. I feel like I have to expend less energy trying to like shield the brain from all these announcements.
Yeah, it is nice. And like, I do feel like I've managed to create some workflows recently that work on Claude and that I'm happy with them just working on Claude. I haven't had like FOMO to like try to get them to work on anything else. I've seen some tweets from Dax where he's like trying to rewrite system prompts to make it work with Gemini and try and make like struggling with tool calls on Gemini because like obviously I know people who use his products want Gemini, but I'm in the lucky situation where I can just 100% use the model that I decide to use. And if I use Claude, like, and it all just works, I'm very happy.
Yeah.
But I am like, the first time I felt a hint of FOMO was when I saw the K2, the moonshot model just being like so fast. I was like, oh, if that is good for coding, that is a game changer. I want the model that I sit in front of. I don't mind if it's a little bit worse. If it's light speed fast.
Yeah. And also, especially things like it feels like when you're using Claude Code, right, there's like a core kind of tool calling loop, right? Which is just like, ls, grep, like, list everything in this directory or whatever.
That's
all the
quick.
stuff. Yeah, like exactly, right? Like it feels like for that stuff you don't, and it's really surprisingly slow sometimes. And like, I mean, like, what's the slow part here? Like deciding to run grep, like deciding to.
Yeah, sometimes.
Like you would almost. Yeah, so and it feels like deciding to run grep like shouldn't be that. Like it feels like a lighter model can do that. So yeah, I'm also hoping to
Okay, maybe in our free ideas section, you know how maybe you haven't tried it, but Open Code has this really funky. I actually apologize for shitting on Open Code earlier when we were talking about AMP. It has this really cool tab. You press the tab and you switch between plan and build mode. So in plan mode, it has no access to any tools that can write data. You can just read and just gather context and just like understand the code base. And then you go into build mode and you can ask it to execute. But you flick between the two with tab, which is super nice because you can like type out some stuff and you can be like, oh, do I want it to actually do this? Oh no, just tab. And then press enter. I feel like there's a cool mode there where instead of plan and build, it's like context and action. Where,
I see. Yeah.
Because I actually want the planning. I don't necessarily want the planning to happen at the beginning. I want the planning to happen during the action, or during the build phase. But I would like to develop some context of the problem that I'm talking about, and I would like that to happen really fast. So if you could switch between models there, that would be super quick. That would be cool. Because you could
Ooh,
have the
this
fast
reminds me.
model getting context and then the speedy model and then the slow model that's a slightly better actually writing to the code base.
It's also great when the agent asks you questions back for things that you hadn't considered that were like genuinely ambiguous in like your initial prompt. Like that is amazing with like the deep research because that does it consistently. Apparently O3 in general is good at asking questions back. A lot of previous models, I used to actually have this as part of my ChatGPT system prompt, like always ask me 3 questions back that you don't understand. And it never gave me good questions, not once.
That's going to be
I stopped
that's
reading
going to be
them.
really bad. That's going to be really bad for automated tasks, right? This is where we might get some model divergence of like models that are like RLHF to just continue no matter what, and models that are RLHF to have some feedback from the user. And I wonder where everyone's going to go with that, because now we have open code and also AMP. We forgot to mention, but AMP can be ran via the CLI. Speaking of running stuff via the CLI, we'll finish this point. Then you might have some divergence about models that like want to ask you stuff back, whether models that just continue with the task to fruition, because that is a different model at the end of the day.
Is it? Because asking questions back is just a tool call, but to the human.
Yeah, but imagine the human's not there.
I see, I see. So like in training, you would need the human there is what you're saying.
Yeah, you're going to have to provide data that has the human there when it asks questions back. And so people are going to put in a lot of effort to make that capability. But what I'm saying is for a lot of my, like, for instance, my use case in Claude Code, that automated code generation use case, I don't want the model to ask a question. I want the model to run to fruition and be done. If the model asks a question, like, it's going to stop my run. And so I would much prefer to have like a 90% outcome for it not asking the question, or even a 50% outcome not asking the question, than asking a question and then stopping the run. So maybe that's my bad UX. Maybe I'm not optimized. Maybe I'm being screwed by the bitter lesson.
Interesting.
Maybe that is the future.
That's really
things
interesting.
that can ask you back.
Because I for sure would want it to ask me back. Because what I dislike the most is when like you get something that's kind of broken in ways that you don't understand, and now you need to like untangle it because of some stuff you didn't provide up front.
It's a lot of investment for the labs though to generate that training code to fine tune it to do that.
But in the shape of the problem, right? It's not like too different a shape to like a conversation with the user, right?
Yeah.
Already, like, I think the fact that you can reply to these things is different to how they're trained. But I want to do a little experiment. I'll make a note of this actually to like just try and get O3 to ask me some questions back. Maybe I'll do this as part of my AMP exploration.
Yeah, AMP is so cool. They're doing bits there. I love the product sense. I'm a little bit confused what happened to their old coding agent. Did Cody just die? Did they get so ingrained into like an architecture and then they just had to ditch it and start again? Is it hence the rename?
I really don't know anything too much about Cody, but I assume, I don't know. Maybe they serve slightly different purposes.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, can I tell you my story about the observability provider now?
Oh, yeah, I had that on the agenda as well. Yeah, please do. The lore. We've been trying to get to this for weeks.
I don't know if this is lore, and it's probably not lore because I actually did a whole talk about this at AI Engineer London.
Nice.
So the story goes.
Go on.
I'm running some evals. Should I mention the provider's name?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm running some evals with a recently minted unicorn, Langsmith, and I'm having a great time. I'm making some prompt improvements. It's going really well. It was back in like RAG era where I was trying to work out how many pieces of context, how many chunks I wanted to return from a particular retrieval call. And so I built a training set, and then I was like, I'm gonna run this training set at k equals, I think it was like 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 10, 15, 20, something like that. All those different amounts of context being returned, just to see like, where does performance plateau? Do I get some problems when I start overstuffing the context window and all of that sort of stuff? And so I press run. Bearing in mind, I've been running evals all morning, no stress. And I press run on my laptop and I go for lunch. Lovely falafel wrap from down the road. Super, super nice. Come back maybe like 40 minutes later. No, who am I kidding? It was an hour later. French company, guys. French company. I come back an hour later and I load Langsmith to be like, oh, what? I wonder what happened. I wonder which one was correct. Like I was a bit excited. And I just get access denied. And I'm like, oh dear. Interesting. what have I done? And then I'm about to write an email to someone at Langsmith or Langchain even, being like, guys, like I'm getting access denied. Like what's going on? I asked in my internal Slack first to be like, does anyone change the password, whatever. But I was getting like access denied in like as like a text at the top, like a proper legit access denied. And so I'm sending a Slack message to my colleague, and then I'm like, oh, just like hop in the Langchain Slack just to see if they're like having an outage or whatever. Hop into the Langchain Slack, and it's carnage. There's just like lines of people saying, I have this many agents in production, they're all down. How is the Langsmith platform? Like why is it not working? When are you going to be back up? What do I say to my customers? And underneath all of them, Harrison Chase, the CEO of Langchain, is just like, guys, we're working on it. We're working really hard. We're working on it. We're working really hard. We've established the root cause. We're pushing out a fix. Access should be restored. All good. And I think they were down for quite a long time. I don't want to put like a particular number on it because it was way longer than it should have been. Like they were still down when I was trying to get onto it when I got back from lunch. And I'm like, okay, Langchain's down. That's annoying. Can't look at my evals. So I start doing another thing, and I was just like, before I review a PR, I'll just pop off an email to someone at Langsmith being like, oh, I've seen you've had an outage. Is that why I can't get onto my session? And then I'm just like reviewing my PR, and I get an email back from someone at Langchain, and I've screenshotted this email. I'm going to frame it. It's an amazing email. It's like, dear Matt, thank you so much for your email. Blah, 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 blah. Your organization, we had an outage the last couple of hours. It started at this time, UK time, interestingly, the time that I went for lunch. And we believe it was linked to your account. We're still diving deeper into the problems, but it appears that a large job run was made, which overwhelmed some of our servers. And I was like, holy shit, I found arbitrage. My laptop has managed to overwhelm AWS or whatever it's hosted on. I was like, that's so cool. So my laptop running just like
amazing.
The amount of evals that I could run based on my OpenAI rate limits, I managed to bring down the whole Langchain platform.
Any idea why? Like, what is it, like a crazy amount of requests or something?
Yeah, I have no idea. I actually want to look at the email a little bit more in depth because it was just so fun. I'm just going to find it. But it was quite a lot of requests. I think I had like quite a big data set. Not a huge data set for machine learning, but quite a big test data set. And yeah, it was org blocked. Thanks for reaching out. Apologies for the inconvenience. You may have noticed that we've had a significant outage this morning. It appears that the root cause was tied to a batch upload from your organization, which then exhausted all resources on our side. We're still trying to dig into how or why this happened, but part of the workaround to get our service back up and running was temporarily blocking traffic from your organization. We believe this happened during a period of feedback submission related to your jobs, possibly triggered by an automation rule you had running or an experiment you were conducting. It was an experiment. In any case, this block is no longer needed, and you should be able to access your instance. It was like really nice email. We're still investigating the exact root cause, and we're monitoring in case we see a reoccurrence, and we'll let you know. But yeah, just so funny. Just so funny. I guess that's the perils of scaling really quickly. But really cool. They reached $1 billion. Did you see that?
I did not. No. Yeah, shout out to them. Congrats.
Yeah, well, they raised $1 billion. It's very cool.
Not
yeah, so I don't know what that means, but people love Langsmith. Like it's actually a really good platform. Really good platform. Anyway, did you have anything you want? What is differentiate yourself before we call it a day?
You said you added that one. That's one of yours.
Oh dear, did I? Okay.
But we can chat about it next time.
Yeah, let's chat about it next time. I don't have very clear thoughts around that.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting stuff still on the agenda. Like, oh wait, should we not mention? We've gone the whole episode without mentioning the word. Let's keep it for next time.
Let's leave the word.
You know which word I mean.
Yeah, I know which word you mean, dude. I'm actually quite proud of us. I think I should go celebrate after this that we haven't mentioned the word.
It's the future.
Yeah, the future. Anyway, it's been an absolute pleasure. Sorry, I just went off on a rant for the last 10 minutes. I might have to cut that down. That's horrific.
No. I actually think that, yeah, I feel like, edit as much as you want, but I feel like it's nice to get the raw us, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I do just think, though, putting your prompts, which is what all these people are having issues with, is like Langsmith is an observability platform and an eval platform. putting all of your prompts, like those things should just drain, right? They shouldn't matter. If it's not up, it shouldn't bring down your main application. If Datadog goes down, my main application should be fine, right? I shouldn't need like active connections to Datadog to service my main application. And that's the same thing. But they've encouraged this product use case where you store your prompts inside your eval platform because people who are less technical can now edit them. What it means is now you've lost Git, you've lost any type of review, and you've put like a real active dependency on your like production workload. Like, come on, guys. I think it's such an anti-pattern.
That's a bit much. Yeah, that's not great. You want like that's tough. You want like some good caching or some really good guarantees from the provider.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons why they said they would do this as well is they'll cache your prompts. They will make this quick, but they won't make this quick. Let's be honest. You're still calling a server in some cases halfway around the world, and you're doing it at runtime, and it's not a server that you have any sort of control over. And it's the same server that's processing my like millions of random experiment requests apparently. Cool. Anyway, that was a rant.
Nice start to my Wednesday, end of your Wednesday. You're out next week, but what are you doing actually?
I'm going paragliding. We did a course last year for a week, and then I didn't do any paragliding for a whole year. And that course was in the mountains, and I want to learn how to fly on the cliffs in the wind. So yeah, we're going to do something on the cliffs in the wind, and then hopefully afterwards I'll actually do some paragliding this year, because I'm probably a bit rusty, and so I won't have to do another course for the foreseeable future, which will be really nice.
That's amazing. Well, enjoy.
Yeah, it's not really the type of thing that you want to like do badly. It's quite binary, whether it goes well or not.
Yes.
Should be fun.
Dude, I'll miss you next week, but see you in 2 weeks, and enjoy paragliding. Send lots of
see you in 2 weeks, dude. Do you have any big things on?
Don't think so. Just a lot of coding, locking in. Building
the SF
a certain
grind.
kind of server.
The SF summer grind.
That's right. Yeah.
You didn't want to say the word. Is that what that was? Yeah. Is that you not saying the word?
Correct. Well, now I told you this already on Monday, but I got my first random person on the internet customer for the triathlon brand that we're building. I think I mentioned this, but that's kind of like huge. It's kind of a big moment.
That's huge news. You should actually shout it out. Shout it out properly here, and we'll put the link in the show notes.
It's tritonclub.com if you do triathlons and you want to show off your race achievements. Order yourself a sweater. Lots of cool things planned for the future of Triton. But it's really, really fun to have a first random customer who just saw it, loved it, bought it.
Of your awesome lifestyle business. And what's the selling point? Because there is a unique selling point. Go on.
So there's a lot of triathlon swag that's specific to a single triathlon you did. But with this one, you can kind of show off in sort of the style of a North Korean general who wears a very showy uniform, all the different triathlons you've done across all the different distances. So you can be proud of the hard work you've put in, not for a single race, but for many different races.
So if I've only done a sprint triathlon, would I get half a line? And if I've done a full distance, do I get the full medal on the front? How does it work?
Yeah. It's kind of like that. Yeah. So there's a little achievement system, and you can put in all your different races, and then you'll see a preview of the design.
So it generates the design for you based on the things you've done.
Okay. Exactly, yeah.
Almost like a better trophy.
That's right, yeah. And you can wear really out to the family barbecue, the airport lounge, the Monday morning business meeting.
And when you spot someone else with it.
All the people who don't know that you're a triathlete. Actually, I think in general, there's not a lot of good casual triathlon wear. There's a lot of race gear and a lot of t-shirts you can wear on a run. Yeah, how could you...
Well, this is the casual wear, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. But then no one knows. Are you
just the Garmin watch?
Are you just yeah. Anyway, that's enough of a shout out. We can talk about it more next time.
Oh, it's really cool though. What's the tech stack?
It actually runs on Cloudflare.
What's the front end?
It's React.
Straight React.
Straight React.
Whoa, I love it. Is it Python backend?
No, actually, it's all in workers at the moment. But I think it should be. I just love working with a database with Django. I've actually found migrations and stuff quite hard in Cloudflare in D1. It's just a little bit painful. It works for now, but
how?
I think migrations are just really nice in Django. And then I try to use Drizzle.
Yeah, Drizzle's good, man.
I really, it seemed not great for migrations. I don't know. There's just like tons of errors I couldn't get past.
I just
for
do like
migration.
drizzle. Okay, so the one who has a really good blog post on this, and then we will end this because, oh my God, there's so much editing. The one who has a really good blog post on this is Boris X Baseline. He's using durable objects for like a per user database, but you don't have to go that crazy and you can just use Drizzle. But the main thing is to include a migrations directory in your Drizzle config. Sorry, in your D1 config in Wrangler, and then it will automatically pick up the migrations. He goes through all of the setup, and I've had it pretty painless. I think I have a, maybe we need to do some pairing. Message me next time we get stuck on that sort of stuff.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, let's do it. Right, catch you in a bit, dude.
Let's do it. Cool. See you later.
Big love.
Bye.
Bye.
Love.